She walked over to the table, lifted the lid of one of the dishes and wrinkled her nose. Interesting choice. I suppose this is how you cooked in your family? The room fell silent. I felt my face burning, but I refused to let her see how much it hurt. I opened my mouth to respond, but before I could say anything, she laughed and turned to one of her friends. You know, I tried to teach Daniel better than this, but I suppose some habits are hard to break. That was it. That was the moment my heart shattered. My hands trembled as I clenched my fists under the table. I was about to excuse myself, to hide in the kitchen and let the tears fall in private. But then, before I could move, my mother, who had been quiet the entire evening, stood up. My mother is a woman of few words, but when she speaks, people listen. She walked over to Margaret, looked her straight in the eye, and said in the calmest, most controlled voice, "Respect is a two-way street, Margaret. Perhaps it's time you started walking it." The room fell into stunned silence. Margaret's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. My mother didn't wait for a response. She simply turned to me, gave my hand a reassuring squeeze, and sat back down. The shift in the atmosphere was immediate. Suddenly, people started talking again, but this time, the topic wasn't me. Margaret, for the first time, seemed unsure of herself. And from that day forward, something changed. She never became warm and loving, but the blatant cruelty stopped. Perhaps it was embarrassment. Perhaps it was the realization that I wasn't alone, that I had someone who would fight for me. Whatever it was enough. That night, for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. I felt valued. And most of all, I felt proud to be my mother's daughter. If you've ever dealt with a difficult mother-in-law, if you've ever felt small and alone, know this. You are not alone. And sometimes all it takes is one person, one sentence, to remind the world and yourself that you deserve respect. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below sharing your experiences. Your voice matters, and together we can remind the world that kindness and respect should never be optional. Imagine standing in a room full of people, your cheeks burning with humiliation as the woman who is supposed to be your second mother, your mother-in-law, ridicules you in front of everyone. You glance at your husband, hoping for some support, but he just lowers his gaze. The room fills with an awkward silence as the guests try to pretend they didn't hear what was just said. And then, in that moment of despair, your own mother steps forward. She looks your mother-in-law dead in the eye, says one sentence, and suddenly the room is so silent you could hear a pin drop. This is my story, a story of humiliation, pain, and ultimately the kind of triumph that only comes when you least expect it. When I first married my husband, Daniel, I was overjoyed. I had found the love of my life, and I thought I was entering a new family that would welcome me with open arms. But from the very first day, my mother-in-law, Margaret, made it clear that she did not approve of me. She believed Daniel had married beneath him, and she never missed an opportunity to remind me of it. At first, it was little things, comments about my cooking, backhanded compliments about my appearance, snide remarks about how I was raised. I tried to ignore them, thinking maybe she just needed time to warm up to me. But as the months passed, it became clear that Margaret wasn't just testing me. She was determined to make my life miserable. She would visit our home and run her finger along the furniture, checking for dust. If she found any, she would sigh dramatically and say, "I suppose cleanliness wasn't a priority in your family." She would invite Daniel over for dinners and conveniently forget to invite me. At family gatherings, she would openly praise his ex-girlfriends, reminiscing about how lovely they were, how well they dressed, how they came from good families. I tried to be patient. I tried to tell myself that she was just protective of her son, that maybe she didn't realize how much her words hurt me. But deep down, I knew better. Margaret enjoyed making me feel small, and worst of all, Daniel never stood up for me. When I brought it up, he would say, "That's just how she is. Don't take it personally." The breaking point came during a family gathering at our house. It was a big event. I had spent days preparing, making sure everything was perfect. I wanted so badly to impress his family, to show them that I was a good wife, a good hostess. The house was spotless, the food was delicious, and for the first hour, things seemed to be going well. And then Margaret arrived. She walked in, took one look around, and smirked. "Oh dear," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "I see you've done your best. It's quaint." I swallowed hard, forcing a smile. "I hope you're hungry. I made all of Daniel's favorites."